I want you to picture two Americans. Same year, same starting point. Neither of them has ever bought Bitcoin. The first one hears about Bitcoin when it's down 78% from its high. The price is $16,000. His coworker mentions it at lunch, half joking, calling it that thing that already died. He looks it up for 4 minutes on his phone, feels nothing, and goes back to work. The second one hears about Bitcoin 14 months later. The price is $150,000. It's on the news. It's on his sister's Instagram story. His cousin just bought a truck with what he made. He downloads an app before he even finishes his coffee. Here's what's strange. The first one had the exact same opportunity, the exact same access, the exact same amount of money in his savings account. He just didn't feel anything yet. The second one feels everything. And feeling everything is exactly why he's about to lose money. This isn't a story about greed. This isn't a story about somebody being reckless with their paycheck. This is a story about a trap that has nothing to do with intelligence. A trap built directly into how the human brain decides what's safe. And once you see how it actually works, you'll never look at a Bitcoin headline the same way again. The validation trap. Bitcoin runs on a schedule. Every 4 years, the number of new coins entering circulation gets cut in half. Less new supply, same or rising demand, that's the mechanical engine behind every major price cycle Bitcoin has ever had. But human beings don't run on that schedule. Human beings run on a completely different clock, a psychological one. And that clock is driven by one thing: proof. The average person does not buy an asset because the math says it's cheap. They buy an asset because it has already proven itself to everyone around them. They need the social confirmation first. The problem is, by the time an asset has proven itself to the entire country, the cheap part is long gone. So here's the trap in one sentence. The exact moment Bitcoin finally feels safe enough for the average American to buy it is mathematically the moment it is most dangerous to buy it. It's not an accident. It's not manipulation, exactly. It's a system where the media cycle, human psychology, and the price cycle all peak at the same time. And almost nobody buying at that peak realizes they're the last stop, not the first. The nightclub with no line. Imagine a nightclub on a random Tuesday. No line outside. No music you can hear from the street. It looks dead. You'd probably keep walking. 3 hours later, that same club has a 2-hour line wrapped around the block, a $100 cover charge, and a crowd yelling to get in. You pay it. You wait. You finally get inside just as the DJ announces the last song and the lights come up. That's what buying the Bitcoin top feels like from the inside. Nobody walks into the empty club. Everybody fights to get into the full one 5 minutes before it closes. And here's the part that should really bother you. In almost every other part of life, Americans do the opposite. If iPhones went 70% off, there would be a line around the block. Nobody skips a Black Friday sale because it feels too cheap. But hand that same person a 70% discount on Bitcoin, and they run from it. Then they show up in droves once the price is marked up 500%. We treat sales like a threat and markups like an invitation. Only in this one market. The data nobody talks about. Here's where it stops being a theory and starts being measurable. Retail money does not enter Bitcoin gradually. It enters in sharp, compressed bursts, and those bursts overwhelmingly happen after Bitcoin has already broken its previous all-time high. The bulk of brand new retail wallets in any cycle get created in the final 10 to 15% of that cycle's run. Not the middle, not the beginning, the very end. Google search data backs this up in an almost embarrassing way. Searches for how to buy Bitcoin don't predict the price going up. They lag behind it. Public curiosity peaks within days of the exact macro top.
Which means the moment the average American becomes most interested in Bitcoin is, statistically, close to the exact moment institutions and early holders are selling into that interest. The public isn't early to the party. The public is the exit liquidity for people who were early. Why crypto makes it worse? Traditional stock markets have circuit breakers. They close at 4 p.m. There's a bell, a pause, a chance for everyone to breathe and think overnight. Crypto has none of that. It's on every hour, every day, forever. And that changes behavior in a very specific way. A retail investor can resist FOMO all week, refuse to check the app, refuse to open Twitter, and then break at 3 in the morning on a random Sunday when volume is thin, price swings are exaggerated, and there's nobody around to talk them out of it. There's no closing bell to save you from yourself in this market. The trap doesn't clock out.
The unit bias nobody explains. Here's a smaller psychological glitch that quietly makes all of this worse. When Bitcoin is $15,000 a coin, a lot of Americans avoid it because it feels broken, like a stock that's crashed and isn't coming back. But when it's $150,000 a coin, they rush in, even though now they can only afford a tiny sliver of one. A fraction of a coin doesn't feel like ownership. So the first time that fraction dips 10%, they panic sell. Not because the investment failed, but because it never felt like enough to matter in the first place. People aren't just buying at the wrong time. They're buying an amount too small to survive their own anxiety.
This has happened before. This isn't new, and it isn't unique to crypto. In 1997, internet stocks were cheap, speculative, and almost entirely ignored by the general public. Nobody wanted them. By late 1999, companies with no revenue at all were up 1,000%. And that's exactly when everyday Americans started taking out second mortgages to buy tech stocks. A few months later, the NASDAQ lost 80% of its value. Same trap, different decade, different asset, same wiring. And it's only gotten faster. You used to need a broker and a few days to buy a speculative asset. Today, you can see something go viral on TikTok and convert your entire paycheck into Bitcoin in under 30 seconds while you're sitting in traffic. The friction that used to slow people down and give them time to think is gone.
The debate Wall Street won't settle. There's a real argument happening right now about whether this trap is even still true. Bulls say Wall Street ETFs have changed everything. That automatic 401k allocations and institutional buying have smoothed out the old boom and bust psychology, so retail won't get slaughtered the same way again. Bears say that's backwards. They argue ETFs don't remove the trap, they hide it, masking the underlying volatility behind a safe, regulated wrapper right up until the moment it isn't safe, creating a bubble that's larger and harder to see coming than any before it. Nobody knows which side is right yet. But notice something about both arguments. Neither one says the psychology has actually changed. Only the packaging has.
And there's one more piece almost nobody wants to say out loud. During the bear market, crypto influencers preach patience, dollar cost averaging, long-term thinking. Nobody's watching, so there's no incentive to be anything but reasonable. But the moment Bitcoin breaks its old high, their engagement explodes, and so does their tone. Suddenly it's not average in patiently anymore. It's Bitcoin to $1 million by next month. The same voices that were calm for 2 years become the loudest, most urgent voices in the room right as the door is closing. Whether they mean to or not, they're functioning as a funnel, turning retail attention into liquidity for whoever's on the other side of that trade. Where this goes next. So where does this trap go from here? The next major top probably won't look like a crash. It'll look boring. A slow, quiet distribution phase where institutions gradually sell their ETF holdings to retail investors who've been told over and over that Bitcoin is now a stable, corporate-grade asset, nothing like the wild speculation of the past.
And as Bitcoin gets folded further into normal banking apps and robo-advisors, the trap won't just catch tech-savvy 20-somethings anymore. It'll catch retirees. People whose automated investment accounts quietly allocate them into Bitcoin at the exact top of the next cycle because a momentum indicator somewhere said it looked good. The tools will look safer. The interface will look calmer. The trap will look nothing like a trap at all. So the real question isn't whether Bitcoin is a good investment. The question is whether you'll recognize the moment you finally feel safe enough to buy it as the same moment you should be the most afraid.